Hello ladies and gents, boys and girls, and welcome back to another episode here on Cup of TCG. My name is Kyle, joining me is the lovely Callum. You've seen plenty of our faces over the last few videos, and well, you're going to be seeing even more because we've got another Ira video for you because, I mean, someone at LSS thought it would be a good idea, after seeing your decent performance on Ira recently, to give us some more support in an Armory deck, mate. I mean, this is looking spicy. Some new things added to our repertoire.
100%. Ira's in an interesting place right now, right? The meta's super open, and I think this is a really, really cool product for new players especially as well.
Absolutely. So I suppose before we get really in the weeds of the Armory deck, knee-jerk reaction, is this a good purchase for people, Callum?
Oh, 100%. This Armory deck looks to me like one of the best new player products that they've released, right? So you've got the very, very logical pathway of going from your Ira starter decks that you can get at your LGSs straight into the Armory deck, shifting the play style of the deck only marginally. It's a very similar play style to how the entry level deck plays, with some really cool new tools and some more powerful plays.
Absolutely. All right, well, without further ado then, let's jump in to the actual Armory deck itself and review some of those new cards. Okay, we are here. Callum, give us a rundown. The new Armory deck. What do we get?
So as you guys will have noticed, the deck features the primary weapon of Edge of Autumn, which is slightly different to some of the more constructed Ira decks that you've seen over the past year or so that she's been in the format. Edge of Autumn makes more sense because, like you say, it's Ira's weapon. It's a bit more thematic. It's what she plays with in the starter deck, and it's what she's going to play with in this Armory deck as well, with all of the new cards featured in this Armory deck being heavily synergized with Edge of Autumn itself.
Love it.
For the headpiece, we've got Iris of the Blossom, which is a really, really cool card. Lets you do a little bit of hand fixing, instant ability to go grab yourself a Whirling Mist Blossom from your deck, which hasn't seen too much constructed play in Ira. Starting to see a little bit more with Gravy Bones being a bit of a menace.
Yeah.
But maybe having Whirling Mist Blossom on demand at all times might be just that bit of an extra bump needed to make the card a little bit more enticing.
Yeah, very true. I mean, the fact that this doesn't destroy itself on first use, right? Like, you get 3 uses out of this and you go, all right, you know what 2? At the end of it is really, really cool.
One of the more annoying things that can happen in your Ira deck is being a little blue flooded. So this lets you turn one of your blues as well into a bit more of a threat, forcing some interaction from your opponent.
Absolutely. Speaking about forcing more interaction, we've got another piece of equipment here. A new arm piece comes in the Armory deck, and another Blade Break 2 piece.
Yeah, Arcana Scarap's really cool piece. The attack reaction basically saying that you get an extra +1 damage on board at all times. Whenever an attack you control the Vengeance in the name has hit, you can equip the Edge of Autumn that you just banished for the attack reaction back from your banish zone. So nice little bit of recursion. One thing to note about this card, if you ever get stuck without your Edge of Autumn, it's very, very difficult. So there's some interesting ways that you have to play this deck to avoid that happening.
Absolutely. Interesting that we're going to be getting big swords back from the grave instead of the tiny little daggers, right?
Yeah.
Robe of Autumn's full.
Yeah, so Robe of Autumn's full. I've joked a little bit about it being a Null Rune Robe, alternate artwork card, but in the Armory deck, the effect functions really, really nicely. But when we look at upgrading this Armory deck down the line, there's definitely some tools that we can better use in the chest slot.
Oh, very true. I can think of some instantly. And a returning favourite in Snapdragon Scalers. I don't know if these need too much of an introduction, do they, Callum?
Classic, absolute fab classic.
Absolutely. One very important thing as well to mention about the Ira Welcome deck, the Ira Welcome deck, my apologies, the Ira Armory deck, is you get Ira, which if you hadn't played at any of the promo events or didn't get one of those exclusive ones from the 5th year anniversary celebration in Japan, you may not have been able to get hold of this. So just the fact you are getting Ira, very important because in CC, you need the hero. It's one of these things that you do require.
Yeah, and she looks great. So
she does look. She looks all right. She's fine. She's ninja, but you know. Anyway, right, we're gonna be getting into the real meat and gravy of this game and this deck. Callum, we've got loads of new cards. We've got loads of new Majestics, and we've got almost a new keyword in Vengeance. What's going on here?
Yeah, so Enact Vengeance is sort of the first card that probably the easiest card to understand in this Armory deck. Similarly to your classic Ira constructed plays of doing a Kodachi into Command and Conquer, this lets you do that on a mega budget, basically, because Command and Conquer, not the cheapest card. However, this card basically doing the same thing, allowing you to go 1 on your Edge of Autumn into 7 on the Enact Vengeance, with the ability to pump it over should you choose to catch the arms in, makes for a very, very threatening 2-card play. This can also be used as a big finisher because it also combos with cards with Vengeance in their name, not just Edge of Autumn. So look, really, really cool card. Combo card as well, meaning that it can be used with Flick Flack, which you'll see is also in the deck. Just good, just fantastic card, to be honest.
It's ticking all the boxes, right? Everything that you need. It's a combo card. It synergizes with the entire deck. It blocks 3. That's all you need, basically, in one of these Majestics. And I mean, it, as you're correctly saying, being like a budget CNC, very relevant, especially in the world of Flesh and Blood, where CNC's not that cheap for newer players. So getting a similar effect in your deck early on is amazing.
Yeah, really good choice from LSS to include an effect like this, considering that Ira is a deck that probably uses Command and Conquer as one of the best heroes to use Command and Conquer, so allowing newer players to have a budget version is really great. Let's look at Seek Vengeance, which is on the second row down here. You've got the red and the blue in this deck. I was really hoping for the yellow because I think this card is super sick, but maybe one day. We've just got blue Bittering Thorns, so maybe one day we'll get yellow Seek Vengeance, sorry. But Yellow Seek Vengeance is a 0/4 3-block with conditional go again if you've swung Edge of Autumn, and spoiler alert, you're going to be doing that a lot. So this is a really easy play after your Edge of Autumn. On Chain Link 2 coming in for 5 off your Ira ability. Just good numbers, a way to use your arms again. Even the blue is really nice because on Chain Link 2 it's going to come in for 3, you'll be able to pump it over for 4. So yeah, just fantastic card. 3-block again. Really, really solid block values in this deck.
This reminds me very much of like an Aurora turn, where you're doing like a lightning 0/4 into a swing, in a sword swing for 2 go again, but you're doing it the opposite way around. You're doing the sword swing for 1 go again into 5 go again. Like the numbers are exactly the same, and it's I don't know. This is just really cool. It's terrifying. A 0/5 go again is absurd, but it's got a condition in the largest air quotes known to man.
Yeah, and the thing is it being a 0 cost makes you think, well, how am I going to use up all of my resources if I'm pitching my blues to swing my Edge of Autumn? Well, you re-equip that Edge of Autumn, you get to swing it again, and then you've got, say, like a 1/5 finisher. Maybe you trigger your chess piece to get your 2 floating to go into your Enact Vengeance. Just some really, really cool lines that you can do, even when you're swinging Edge of Autumn multiple times in a turn.
I mean, even a 3-card play, which is just Edge of Autumn, Seek Vengeance into Enact Vengeance, pitching a blue, like, I'll take those numbers every day of the week. Really, really nice that these synergize so well.
Yeah, that is like a play that is constructed level powerful, which makes you think that this Armory deck, even though it's for new players, it really does have some really interesting tools in here.
For sure. Speaking about new tools, let's continue on that point. Is there anything else new that they added in? Ooh, a couple more cards down here. Legacy of Ikaru and Vengeance Never Rests.
Yeah, so we'll talk about Legacy of Ikaru quickly. It's one of the easier to understand new cards. So it's a zero cost blue 3-block, sort of like Ancestral Empowerment. It lets you pump a ninja attack by 1. If Edge of Autumn was the last attack on the combat chain for the attack that you're using this attack reaction on, you draw a card, which is really, really nice. It's basically cantrips itself. Blue 3-block. You can't ask for too much more, to be honest. Really great card. Vengeance Never gone.
I was going to say, if we're making comparisons again to those welcome decks, this is an upgraded Lungeon Press, right? This is that buffed up version of the very first attack reaction that you will play in Flesh and Blood, all with an effect that we've seen before in a majestic power level card inside of CC. So yeah, really, really nice to see this.
Sure. Then we've got Vengeance Never Rests, which is a 1/3 3-block combo card where if Edge of Autumn was the last attack on the combat chain, it gets go again, and if it hits, you can banish it and play it again this turn, which is really cool because with Edge of Autumn and Ira's hero ability, you're basically going 1 into 4, making this a breakpoint. Harder to have your opponent block this on Chain Link 2, especially considering that you can again pump it to 5 with your new arm piece. banishes come back. So even on a 2-card play, this is a 1 into a 4, maybe 5, into a 3. Basically just making a really, really efficient 2-card play off of a couple of blues.
Can you, and this is me spitballing, and I can cut this if it's completely wrong, Edge of Autumn, Vengeance Never Rests, flicking Edge of Autumn, Vengeance Never Rests, and then keep going and it banishes itself if it hits?
You can. It's going to take
That's
a few resources because all of these things cost 1, but
yeah,
it is 100% something that you can do.
Damn.
It's a very cool card. Very cool card.
Wow, that's
and
really nice.
You'll see when we move into the Armory deck that this card is sort of influencing how we might play the deck a little bit more in the future.
Absolutely. Right, I believe that is everything new with the exception of Bittering Thorns Blue. It finally got a print. We saw the yellow originally, then we got the red, and now we're seeing the blue to be able to complete the set. We don't have the yellow inside of this deck, but I mean, quick touch point on blue Bittering Thorns. Is this just good because it is blue in this deck?
It's okay. It's the frustrating part about Bittering Thorns Blue is that it's going to come in for 3 on Chainlink 2 with Ira's Hero ability, which is only a 1-card block. May force a little bit of interaction, but I think the fact that it blocks 2 in our blue base means that we can include some better stuff when we start getting some new stuff. We'll just quickly mention that you do get to Give and Take in this deck, which is a nice majestic reprint. It lands itself in some Ira deck, so yeah, not a bad card.
Nice. And you've got some staples here as well. You've got your Flick Flacks inside of red, 0 for 4, potentially even 0 for 6 defense reaction if you're defending multiple chain links across a single turn. Your Sink Belows, it gets another reprint. It's your 0 for 4 defense reaction. Your Razor Reflexes, your Scar for a Scars, which I think is the most reprinted card in Flesh and Blood at this point, and a whole host of other ninja cards to boot as well. Even a cheeky little E-Pot, because you know what? 2 random resources and it's a blue at some point. Yeah, fine. Why not?
A flying kick or something.
Yeah, true. Sometimes you just need 2 random resources, and if you can get them off the board, then you're happy with it. Yeah, Callum, as you said, all in all, this looks really strong for an Armory deck. But Ira, right now in CC, is played in a couple different ways, and there's almost certainly ways to be able to upgrade this. So, unless you've got any other final thoughts, I think we move into our first upgrade tier.
What I'll say just about moving into these upgrade tiers with Ira is I think the new product that you're getting with the Armory deck is really, really incentivizing you to play Edge of Autumn. So as I've mentioned, you'll see in the deck profile that we did, which was the last upload that we had on the channel, I was playing Kodachis. Obviously, it was before this Armory deck was released. However, that has been the classic way that Ira has been played. With this upgrade path, we're going to focus on an Edge of Autumn build just to make it feel like you're really rewarded for purchasing the Armory deck, right? You don't want to purchase the Armory deck, switch to Kodachis, and then just bin off all your new Enact Vengeances and all your new cards. So keeping with the Edge of Autumn theme, I think it's a really cool theme to sort of explore with Ira now. Something new.
Armory tier upgrade. You've bought the deck and you think, you know what, a couple more cards here and there just to be able to make this a bit better. And we've got 3 pieces of equipment and a number of different in-deck cards. Callum, talk to me about Breeze Rider Boots.
Breeze Rider Boots are kind of like a marginal upgrade to Snapdragon Scalers. You get 1 block on your legs, and you can effectively use it similarly to how you would use Snapdragon Scalers, except this has the added benefit of actually being able to crack this on Enact Vengeance, which is a 2 cost. So you would not have been able to give that go again with your Snapdragon Scalers in the past. It's a very cheap majestic equipment. It's been reprinted in History Pack and a few other places, so about £2-3 I think I found this. We're looking at spending around £50, 50 great British pounds to upgrade this Armory deck a little bit. We might go a little bit over depending on how popular some of these cards get, but yeah, you can cut on a few of these cards if you choose.
Absolutely. Norrin gloves, pennies, absolute pennies for this card.
Yeah, you'll have locals that have got all of this arcane barrier equipment for you, and you get AB1 in the Armory deck on your new chess piece, so you could even probably forego this for a little bit if you just got a load of local rune blades or whatever it might be. And that's the same reason why Tide Flippers are in this tier as well. It's a minor upgrade to Norrin boots in Ninja, so might as well have them.
Absolutely. In deck cards, we've got a few inside of the actual deck and some potential considerations as well. Ancestral Empowerment is the Majestic that we're recommending right now. We've seen a card very similar to this, Callum, already.
Yeah, so the main reason to play Ancestral Empowerment, I think, in this deck is because you are heavily incentivized to put a real big onboard threat with Whirling Mist Blossom, being that your new helmet allows you to go tutor it whenever you like. So people will have to respect Whirling Mist Blossom in ways that they haven't done before, whether it be overblocking it by 1 because you've got the arms on board, but how do we make it even more threatening? Well, maybe they need to overblock it by 2 because you also have Ancestral Empowerment, and you'll see also in this upgrade tier is the lovely Nip of the Heels, which is another attack reaction that we can use to pump Whirling Mist Blossom even higher. One card in this tier that I'd really like to focus on is Prismatic Leyline. So this is one of the more expensive cards in this tier. So these are going for about £10-11 a card at the moment because you've got Gravy decks playing it. You might start having Ira decks playing it as well. But for going to Kodachis basically means we need to find a way to have a power play in this deck that's similar to Dual Threat like we used to have in the Kodachi build. Prismatic Leyline in this deck can really push some good numbers, especially if we start including cards like yellow Bittering Thorns, you've got yellow Whirling Mist Blossom, you've got blue attacks like the Vengeance Never Rests that we focused on earlier. This was an idea that TCG Talk on YouTube has sort of opened my eyes to, and now I'm starting to think, this Ira deck was kind of felt like it was lacking a big power play, but Prismatic Leyline looks like it could be the way back into that sort of play pattern.
Nice. Yeah, interesting card, right? Like when this was first revealed, it was either seen as a crazy 0 for 6 pump, or sometimes it pumps for 1, and no real in between. But if you're able to build your deck around that, you've got your yellows, you've got your blues, you've got your reds kind of weaved in and out of your deck. Prismatic Leyline, getting even just 4 pump value on a blue and a red is already enough to have this as one of your turns play, right?
And remember, you will always be able to, should you choose, get the +2 on the yellow because you can tutor a Whirling Mist Blossom whenever you like. And the harder you make that card to block, the even better it is for you. So yeah, really cool power play in this deck, and it blocks 3. So
very important, very important. We talked about Nip of the Hills as well, also blocking 3, incredibly important. This one blocks 2 though. Bittering Thorns, the yellows are going to be coming in, the OG. Why are we including yellow in Bittering Thorns here?
This should be pretty easy to pick up, especially if you've got your Ira Welcome decks at your local game store, so these are in there. This comes in for 4 on Chainlink 2, so it's basically a red Bittering Thorns, specifically in Ira. It also has added synergy with Prismatic Leyline because it's another colour, so we have a little bit more optionality for having Bittering Thorns come in for. It doesn't even have to be this Bittering Thorns would come in for 6 on Chainlink 2 if you've got a Prismatic Leyline, or 5 on Chainlink 3, making your breakpoints even more difficult to block. So I think the addition of Prismatic Leyline basically means that it's much more enticing to play more copies of Bittering Thorns. Yeah,
really lean into that kind of, we don't have dual threat, but we have dual threat at home kind of play style with Prismatic Leyline. And the newest card, I suppose, out of these, Sirens of Safe Harbor, a 2 for 6 that blocks 2. Why is this good?
So I kind of sung this card's praises in the previous video that we did. It's Ira is historically been a little bit more of a mid-range deck that has the ability to have some explosive turns. This card is one of your best mid-range tools because you basically get to say, I'm only going to keep 2 cards, but I'm going to swing my Edge of Autumn and go into my Sirens for 7 on Chainlink 2, gaining a life, just getting some really good numbers. That's effectively 9 value worth across 2 cards. So really cool card. This card, the reason I'm also including the blues in this is because you have the added synergy of being able to discard these cards to your new Iris helmet, gaining a life when you do so. So just that little extra bit of value, which is really cool. So I love this card. I think it's really cool and nice and cheap in the most recent set. Sort of good replacements for some of the filler cards in the Armory deck. And that's what you'll see a lot of this sort of Armory tier is the majority of the cards in here are commons and rares. These should be in bulk boxes. People should be able to help you out finding these. If you scroll down a little bit, we'll see a lot of the cards that I kind of classed as inventory cards or sideboard cards, but I mean a lot of these are in here anyway. Completely forgot that Sink Below is even in the Armory deck, so forget that that's even in here. You got Fate Foreseen, which is another 0 for 4 D-React if you choose to run a less combo focused build and don't want to use Flick Flack. You got Sigil of Solace as another sort of defensive trick that you can use. You've got cut down to size, which is really good into aggro decks, forcing some more interaction on top of your Enact Vengeance Arsenal Disruption effect. Humble's going to stop heroes who want to abuse their hero ability. Blanche is going to help you as a 7-power popper if you've got a load of prisms in your local store, and it's got a good effect into Gravy. So look, it's just, Ira is a toolbox deck, and all of these cards really play their own parts. Pick up whichever of them you feel is necessary for your local store.
Or all of them, because they are notably all commons, all rares. They will be in your bulk boxes alongside your Sirens, alongside your Yellow Bittering Thorns. Hey, even your Nip at the Hills, which is sacrilege, because this card, even though he's got 2 left feet, is amazing. You've upgraded your armory deck, you've gone to your local armory itself, and, well, you've maybe even sniped a Kano or 2 because you've been able to chuck in AB3. Oh, crazy scenes. But that is not enough. You want to go on to a Pro Quest, even a Road to Nationals. These are just a small amount of cards that you will need to be able to bring it to that next level. Callum, we've got 6 cards, 2 playsets, Censor and a Race Face. Give us a rundown of this dastardly fellow on Censor.
So this tier is, again, trying to only spend about £50-60, and the harsh reality of trading card games sometimes is that some of these cards are a little bit expensive, especially when they have really powerful effects like Censor and Erase Face. Censor's a 1 for 5 that's going to do some really good cost curve numbers if you go, for example, Edge of Autumn into your Bittering Thorns, into your Censor, that sort of play pattern, really nice. And it has the on-hit effect of being able to name a card and your opponent cannot play it until the end of the next turn. A bit more difficult to use, especially if you're a new player. You might not know what exactly your opponent is always trying to do. I mentioned in the Nationals video that we did that you can just name a face-up ally against Gravy Bones, which is pretty good because it's right there. But look, it's a really nice card. It is a little bit expensive at this point. You know, you've got, I think they're about £10 to £15, so a bit pricey. A Race Face in the same sort of price range, unfortunately. However, one of the better budget 2 for 6 disruptive effects, especially against heroes like Syndra, against heroes like your Earth heroes. It's even good against Prism because sometimes she cares about stuff being light, for example. Yeah. So it's a really good card. Again, these cards are just a little bit more expensive. But look, sometimes you've got to spend some money to win some Pro Quests and some RTNs. So.
Absolutely. I mean, if you're winning your Pro Quest, you're running your Road to Nationals as well. You're going to make that money back in the gold foil. Surely they can't be all bad. I mean, you've hit pretty high. I've hit, a wave reality. We move. Anyway, if you are looking at all of these cards and you're thinking, damn, like this is confusing, there's so many new cards I need to put in, what do I take in, what do I take out? I believe, Callum, you've got a list at each tier as well that we'll chuck into the description for you to be able to see, okay, what does a full list look like at each tier, just so you aren't having to cobble it all together from these individual sections. Now, as I mentioned, you've potentially won a Pro Quest, maybe not won, maybe top 8'd, and you think, I'm going to go a little bit further than that. I might travel, play the game and see the world, James White would like me to say. And so you go to a calling. You might go abroad and you think, I'm going to drop the big bucks. I'm going to finally complete this deck. And we've just got 3 cards for you here as well, but they are some classics. Oh my God, there's more. And this is no longer as cheap as I thought it was. Spring Tunic, Callum. Talk to me about this absolute staple.
So, Tunic, an absolute staple, like you say, classic card of Flesh and Blood. Unfortunately, still hovering around the £100-110 mark, even with the reprints. It's just so good. Like it just works, right? You've got a lot of 1-cost cards in this deck with Bittering Thorns and stuff. So you're gonna go Edge of Autumn into your Bittering Thorns, and you'd love to float a Tunic to do a CNC or something like that. So, look. It's your first actual upgrade to your chess piece, but I think that kind of speaks volumes as to how good the chess piece in the Ira Armory deck can be. There's some other stuff that you can play. You can play like Best of the First Fist. You can play Blazing Yori in the sideboard into some stuff, but that's all up in the air. That's completely up to you. Really, what you want to be looking towards getting to is Final Spring Tunic, and look, it's gonna get its money worth. You're gonna use it in other decks as well.
This is what we say on every single upgrade video like this, where we say you need to buy Spring Tunic. If you've watched 1 or even 2 of our other videos in this format, you've probably already bought a Spring Tunic because you know you're going to get your use out of it. If you are anything close to an aggro deck, you're going to want one free resource every 3 turns. Yeah, why not? I'm going to want that. You're going to want that. So just get a Spring Tunic and you are going to be able to chuck it into absolutely everything. This is a long-term investment of a card in Tunic. So really, really good, and no real surprise that we're seeing it make its way into Ira here as well. A slightly newer piece of legendary equipment, Quick Dodge Flexors. Can never say that one right. This one being a defense reaction that lets you, block with equipment? That's not usually where defense reactions lie.
So it's a nice cool little tool to basically use a blue to block across multiple chain links. This one definitely not as vital. You can keep your Breeze Rider boots and be completely happy with that. I put it in this tier because depending on a certain meta, this card might be more viable, like we saw in the Aurora meta prior. And Ira in this sort of format is less interested in keeping cards like Pouncing Paws around to resolve dual threat, so you get the option to use a card like Quick Dodge Flexors should it be applicable. Unfortunately, another expensive card. Look, we're kind of off the rails with this £50 per upgrade tier plan now, because I mean, the harsh reality of trading card games is that to play at this high level, you've got to fork out some money, and a lot of what you do spend your money on in Ira is applicable to lots of other decks. So yeah, there's a Flesh and Blood card in there.
What is that? Oh, Cold Workshop. There you go. That's not worth anything. Bin that off.
That's not going to buy you a Quick Dodge Flex.
Ain't that the truth?
But look, so Ira is a very toolboxy deck. She plays a good number of generics. She plays a good number of the powerful generics, which means playing her at a very high level can be a little bit straining on the old wallet. However, this deck looks like it functions really well without a lot of these cards as well. So like we said, a CNC budget alternative in the main deck of the Armory deck. So don't worry too much about getting this next card here, which is the classic Command and Conquer. However, it is a very, very powerful card, especially in Ira, as I mentioned earlier.
I will just say, for clarity, again, for people who look at this and think, oh my good God, like this is where it gets expensive. Yes, it does. But we are in the point where you are traveling abroad, you are going to different countries, different locations to be able to play this game that you love in the Flesh and Blood, and you do need the cards. I did, however, play Flesh and Blood for 4 years without buying this card, so you can do it to an okay level. But
can be done.
It can be done.
There are plenty of decks in the game that do not need cards like Command and Conquer. Will you feel good about having them when the tool is available to you?
Yeah,
of course,
absolutely.
But, maybe you just need to be a little bit specific on the decks that you play.
Yeah, and Ira definitely seems like one where CNC is important, right? Turning this card into a 2-for-7 with an incredibly disruptive turn effect in the no defense reactions, and also disruptive effect by destroying the arsenal is... This card's amazing, and again, another one of those cards, very similar to Tunic, because it's generic, because it's been around for so damn long, you're gonna get your money's worth out of it. So, these are the main cards, and we've got a couple more in the inventory, in the sideboard, some absolute heat as well.
9 cards here that have just got such a big price tag, and I can't in good faith recommend that you go out and buy all of these cards, because to be perfectly honest, they're just not necessary. They may be very, very important and helpful to top 8 a calling, win at your nationals, something like that. They, Shelter from the Storm and Warmongers featured in the deck that I played at nationals. However, should I have just had Fate for Scenes? Should I have just had a deck that was better at using Flick Flack? Would I have needed Shelter from the Storm? Possibly not. And there will definitely be formats where the instant discard effect on Shelter from the Storm is not even that relevant. Card is very good against Syndra at the moment, which is why I put it as a recommendation at some point. But look, I don't even own 3 of these. I've only got 2 at this point, so they're not that important. I'll be very, very honest. Same with Weakest Link. The card is not that good at the moment. It's a majestic staple that was very good a format or 2 ago. Kind of falling off at the minute. Yeah, 3 block where you're a race face. It's not a 3 block and that sort of effect. But this card may come back into favour. It's one to keep an eye on. If you see a playset for a good deal somewhere, maybe worth picking them up. But again, not super necessary. Same with Warmongers. Another format dependent card, and it's a blue block 3 that you've got plenty of blue block 3s. Sometimes this card is a real house, and sometimes this card blocks for 3 and pitches blue. So if you have the opportunity to get it, if you have the finances to get it, it's going to help in some matchups, and some formats it's not even played.
Yeah, some formats sit on the binder, and sometimes it will be what wins you certain matchups. RIP Azalea, she's at 999 living legend points right now. Warmongers will no longer be able to hurt you soon. So yeah, all in all, I mean, we're looking at a deck which, if we go back to the Armory deck real quick, out of the gate already has some incredibly strong cards in it. Your Enact Vengeances, budget versions of cards that already exist, which still are going to be seeing play due to their strength. All of the new Vengeance cards as well. A plethora of toolbox pieces in your Razor Reflexes, your Sink Belows, your Scar for Scars, cards which you probably would have been featured in your first upgrade Armory tier. If you cast your mind back to the Aurora one that me and Finley did, these are cards that you are going to be familiar with because we were like, damn, I wish these were in Aurora out of the deck box. So Ira's really setting you up for success here, and the fact that the very first Armory tier is pretty damn cheap in the overall scheme of things is a good sign for new players. Now, you talked at the very beginning of the video, Callum, about the Armory deck itself focuses on Edge of Autumn, Ira's weapon, but that's not the list that has been played in CC for a little bit of time. You've come up with a Kodachi kind of conversion kit as well for us to go over, right?
Yeah, so unfortunately the Kodachi conversion kit is not cheap again. So it is the way that Ira has been built in the past. It doesn't mean that it's going to be the best way that Ira is going to be played from the future for going forward. The Armory deck tools may just be more powerful, and I've played the deck a little bit and it feels pretty good. So there's going to have to be a lot of testing done to understand which is more powerful. Kodachis in themselves are some of the best weapons in the game, especially in Ira, being able to pitch blue and go 1 into 2 across 2 chain links, really helping you convert into the Mask of Momentum threat, which is another card that we'd 100% recommend in a Kodachi build. Not a super expensive legendary, to be honest, after a few reprints and even a Japanese reprint, a white border reprint. There's plenty of ways to get this card. However, the deck requires a bit of a restructuring to play it as a Kodachi list. Like you say, your Vengeance cards effectively don't work without Edge of Autumn. So if that is your pull to buy into this Armory deck, you're not going to have that if you decide to go to Kodachis. My honest recommendation would be have a flick through these cards, see if you like the look of how this plays. It's a dual threat deck, which is a different type of power card to Prismatic Leyline. A very, very fun card to play. I really enjoy this deck. However, you could probably build this deck for a similar cost with or without the Armory deck. So if you're going to go out and buy the Armory deck, focus on Edge of Autumn, brew that build, go win some tournaments with it. That'd be cool to see.
Yeah, I'm very much here for it. Nice, man. I mean, these new cards, this new kind of path for Ira, where we're seeing people being able to pick up those learn to play decks at conventions, at events, similar to what we run the other day, by the way. Let's go. And then just be able to go, cool, well, here's an upgraded version that you can take to a CC event in this Armory deck. This is what Armory decks are meant to be. This is the path to a new player getting into Flesh and Blood. And yeah, they've leaned into it really, really well. And I think they've honestly smashed this Armory deck, one of the best that they've made.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's got some of the best theming as far as Armory decks have gone before. It's got, I think it's probably got the most new cards of any Armory deck, probably. The cards are really powerful. The deck plays really smoothly. You've got tools in there that you would need anyway. You've got D-Reacts, you've got Arcane Barrier in the equipment suite, which hasn't been featured before.
Very important.
Look, a really, really cool new player product, and hopefully something that some existing players like myself get to tinker with and find some success with.
Oh, for sure. Well, guys, that is it. That is the upgrade paths. Like we said, we're going to chuck all of this down in the description for you to be able to click through, see if there's a certain path that you want to take it, what level of commitment you want to be putting into this hero. But first things first, just go out and support your LGS and buy the Armory deck. That is the most important thing. Get started, and honestly, show up to a local Armory just with that. It's strong out of the gate, and you're going to love it. Thank you very much for watching, guys. We hope you have enjoyed. We'll see you very, very soon. Peace.